At the turn of the 20th century, suburban rail traffic into Birmingham was growing rapidly. The Great Western Railway greatly expanded their facilities in the city at the time to cope with the demands. Birmingham Snow Hill Station, their main station in Birmingham, was extensively rebuilt and expanded. However, the twin-track Snow Hill Tunnel, which ran underneath the city centre into Snow Hill from the south, did not have enough capacity to accommodate all the traffic, and widening the tunnel was considered impractical. In order to solve the capacity problem, therefore, in 1909, Birmingham Moor Street station was built at the opposite end of the tunnel to take local terminating trains from the south and to relieve the traffic. It was a terminus for local trains from Leamington Spa and local trains from Stratford-upon-Avon via the recently opened North Warwickshire line. It was opened with temporary buildings in July 1909 and the permanent buildings were completed in 1914. The station was located south of the entrance to Snow Hill Tunnel and at the short end of the short branch, the Moor Street branch, which connected the station to the main line. It originally had a single 700-foot, 213-metre long island platform with two platform faces. A third side platform of 600 feet was added in 1930. The through tracks to Snow Hill ran alongside, however, were not provided with platforms. Because the station was built on a confined space, it was equipped with two electrically operated traversers at the buffer ends of the platform as a space-saving measure in order to allow locomotives to move sideways between tracks, instead of having to reverse through the crossovers. The traversers were removed from service in 1967 when all stations into Birmingham Moor Street switched to diesel multiple unit operation. Trains only used Birmingham Moor Street through Monday to Saturdays, and on Sundays, Snow Hill Station was quiet enough to allow trains to terminate there instead. In 1948, upon nationalisation, Moor Street became under the control of the Western region of British Railways, transferring to the London Midland region in 1963. Snow Hill Station was run down during the late 1960s, and on the 4th of March 1968, the line between the junction with Moor Street Branch and Birmingham Snow Hill, including the Snow Hill Tunnel, closed, leaving Birmingham Moor Street as an isolated terminus for local trains. Moor Street itself came under threat of closure in 1969. However, 5 local authorities objected and took the case to the High Court, which sided with local authorities preventing closure. In 1967 until the mid-1970s, Birmingham Moor Street was at its lowest ebb. The infrequent local trains used Moor Street during peak hours only, and at other times they ran to and from Birmingham New Street Station. This was until the 1970s, when local services from the station came under the control of the West Midlands Passenger Transport Executive, whose auspices service frequencies were improved. And from 1975, regularly intervalled half-an-hourly services were introduced between Birmingham Moor Street, Dorwich and Shirley. In the mid-1980s, funding became available to reopen a station at Birmingham Snow Hill, along with the Snow Hill Tunnel. And as part of the reopening scheme, the new Moor Street station with through platforms was built at the southern portal of the restored tunnel. On completion of this project, the original Moor Street terminus became redundant and closed down, with the final train on the 26th of September 1987 being a steam special hauled by a locomotive from the Birmingham Railway Museum, Clun Castle. The old platforms were disconnected from the network and the new through station became into use on the 5th of October 1987. In the 1990s, the range of services stopping at Birmingham Moor Street were expanded for the first time since it opened, and in 1993, limited stop Network South East services were introduced from London Marylebone to London to Birmingham Snow Hill via Banbury and Leamington Spa, stopping at Birmingham Moor Street, thus making Moor Street a mainline station for the first time. This was taken over by Chiltern Railways following privatisation, and in 1995, the completion of the Jewellery Line project north of Snow Hill meant trains ran through to Worcester via Stourbridge Junction and Kidderminster. The original station, however, was not demolished but was mothballed and allowed to deteriorate, but by the late 1990s the former platforms were overgrown and dilapidated, and cracks in the wall were visible from the roadside, including some caused by an impact of a runaway bus. In March 1988, the Moor Street Station Historical Society was formed to save our station, and Dr. Bernard Juby, a medical practitioner from nearby Yardley, became its chairman and immediately set about campaigning for the station and its warehousing to be listed. Large teams of volunteers met each weekend to clean up and preserve the various buildings. The existing artefacts were carefully renovated and restored and subsequently reused when the station reopened to the public. As a result of their efforts, the old station became a Grade 2 listed building in 1998, with the inspector from the English Heritage visiting the site in 1988 and agreed that both station and warehouses should be listed. But it took a further 10 years, with the help of councillors Sir Stan Yap and Fred Chapman, a 14,500 plus signature petition to the County Council before the Secretary of State signed off on it. In the 2000s, the growth in services on the Snow Hill lines again strained capacity through Snow Hill Tunnel, and so Chiltern Railways and the Birmingham Alliance decided to restore the original terminus and reopen it, to allow some services to terminate there rather than Snow Hill. Between 2002 and 2003, the original Moor Street station and buildings were renovated and restored to the 1930 style at a cost of £11 million. However, there was a long delay before the old terminal platforms were connected to the network and open for service, because of delays in carrying out the necessary signalling work by Network Rail. Two of the three former terminal platforms, numbered 3 and 4, were reopened for use on the 11th of December 2010. The third platform, Bay number 5, remains disused. The restoration project also unified the original station and the 1980s station into one. The main 1980 station entrance was demolished and a new passenger access created by the through platforms using the old station's ticket hall. The footbridge and canopies on the through platform were also rebuilt to match the style of the original station. Refurbished in the 1930s style, the station had reproduction lamps, clocks, seating, signage, and the renovation won the Railway Heritage Trust Award for 2004, as well as the Birmingham Civic Society's Renaissance Award for 2005. The station also became home to the cosmetically restored second GWR 2884 class number 2885 until it was removed on the 4th of June 2013. This stood in the disused Platform 5. Further renovations during 2011 through 2012 included the installation of the Great Western-inspired gilt signage at the front and side elevations of the side building. Since the 2010 timetable change, 2 of the 3 south-facing bay platforms at Birmingham Moor Street are now connected to the network in use, enabling some Chiltern services to and from London Marylebone to terminate at Birmingham Moor Street instead of Birmingham Snow Hill. Local Chiltern stopping services to Leamington Spa also began and terminated in the new terminal platforms. Chiltern are engaged in a large-scale redevelopment of their route from London Marylebone to Birmingham Moor Street, with improvements to allow higher line speeds, and a new faster silver service introduced between Moor Street and London Marylebone came into effect on the 5th of September 2011, using Loco Hall coaches, furthering the competition of Virgin Trains' West Coast Main Line to and from Birmingham New Street. So we'll get started here at Birmingham Moor Street with 172332 and 172211. Working the 0910 West Midlands Railway service from Worcester Forgate Street to Whitlock's End. An absolutely monumental lash up now with 168108, 168214 and 168328. Working the 0914 Chiltern Railways Mainline Silver service to London Marylebone. Next pass through the station is 172005 and 172008, working the 0921 West Midlands Railway service from Stratford-upon-Avon to Kidderminster. Right on his heels is 172101 and 172213, working the 0930 West Midlands Railway service from Dorwich to Worcester Forgard Street. Going out in the opposite direction is 172219 and 172339, working the 0931 West Midlands Railway service from Kidderminster to Stratford-upon-Avon via Whitlock's End. Going out over on the far side is 168216, working the 0937 Chiltern Railway service to London Marylebone. Next pass through the station is 172002, working 5 Delta 16 from Tyseley LMD to Birmingham Snow Hill. Next departing on the station is 172338 and 172003, working the 0940 West Midlands Railway service from Worcester Forgard Street to Dorwich. Up next is 172345 and 172215, working the 0950 West Midlands Railway service from Stratford-upon-Avon to Kidderminster. And right on his heels is 172211 and 172332, working the 0959 West Midlands Railway service from Whitlock's End to Worcester Forgard Street. Next departure for the station is 172002, working the 1001 West Midlands Railway service from Kidderminster to Stratford-upon-Avon. This today started at Birmingham Snow Hill, due to being replaced with another unit. And here comes our train out of the tunnel in for 172343, working the 1010 West Midlands Railway service from Worcester Forgate Street to Whitlock's End. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed what you saw, click on the 2 videos here at the end screen. Helps out the channel. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you are new and got this far. And we'll see you all in the next video, folks, wherever that may take us. We'll see you then, folks.